Hello, hello, can you hear me? Hello? Housekeeping? Housekeeping, can you hear me? Is it safe to come in? No. Okay, I'm coming in. No, I said no. Oh, they're gonna let me go first. How nice. Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry, I was replaying a Family Guy episode in my mind. How's it going? It's a beautiful day. Oh, gorgeous weather. You know what? It's a little chilly right now, though. I came out here with a t-shirt because I'm like, ooh, it's sunny. Let's go. But yeah. I wish I didn't. I kind of wish I had a sweatshirt now, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So it's been a while. My videos haven't been as consistent as they used to be, and I apologize for that. But you know, I'm just kind of getting out here as often as I can. I'm a fair weather rider. I don't like the cold. I don't like the cold, and it's been kind of rainy and stuff like that, so the weather hasn't been fair, so I haven't been riding. But that's all right, you guys. I wanted to talk about something. I'm trying to remember what it was. I had a comment on a previous video that was saying that I should talk about, you know, some mysterious things because of my area. They were suggesting like Sasquatch and stuff like that, which I think maybe in the future, maybe if I can collect enough information about like neat stories or something like that, then sure, I probably will. That'd be kind of fun. But the problem is I don't have too much information about things like that. Instead, I figure maybe I could talk about something that was quite interesting to me, that's a little bit more down to earth, something more close to home, because I think if you were to talk about anything spooky or mysterious, the closer it is to reality, or reality itself can sometimes be a little bit spookier, if you know what I mean. I'm glad you guys couldn't see my face when I said that. So I wanted to talk to you guys about an interview that I saw. I watched an interview. It's about an hour and a half long. It is Tucker Carlson with Catherine Fitz, and I really, really badly want you guys to watch this. Because if you want to go deep dive into some spooky, interesting things, this interview is a great spot where you can like dip your toe into the water. Two people talking that are, I would say, maybe fairly close to sanity, more so than most humans alive. Including myself, but they were talking about bunkers and preparation for natural disasters, like catastrophic extinction events and stuff like that, and I thought it was absolutely fascinating. And once we get moving here and my brain gets moving, I will try to get into some more detail. I don't know what it is, but when I'm stuck at a red light like this, my brain shuts off. I'm like, I need to move. I don't know if you guys understand that, so if it happens to you, let me know. Anyways, so Catherine Fitz, I guess, was part of the Bush administration, is on the board of Sallie Mae, I think it was, or something, you know, like a very successful businesswoman. Has been, you know, in finance. I would assume maybe a banker. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into their backstory, but I'm assuming a banker or just like a policy maker or something like that. But she's worked some fairly prestigious jobs. You see what I mean? Sorry to interrupt again, but once we get moving, my brain starts moving. As soon as I stop, I can't remember what I was saying. Okay, are we going? Is it gonna work again? Woo! It's like a mouse wheel. So she has a pretty prestigious job. So like the credibility is there, and she was there working in the system. She was there. So you would take her word over the guy on the street corner. You know, it's like, I mean, at least you think so. I mean, but then again, you can also make the argument, you know, she worked for politics, so she's a professional liar. That is also a possibility. So if you watch it, take it with a grain of salt. But I'll try to give you my best summary of what she was talking about. So, I don't know if you guys are interested at all in just the conspiracy of an extinction level event, something that could potentially happen that would possibly wipe out the existence of humanity on the planet. And there's some really cool like coincidences that seem to just fit perfectly like pieces to a puzzle. And each day, as we get more data and stuff on like the sun and like the poles moving, and you know, the magnetic north and south pole moving and stuff like that, it's all just seems like, wait a minute, hold on a second. So first of all, here's the first thing I want you guys to do. And this is going to be all over the place, but I promise it'll all come back together. I am doing the Trump weave, as he would call it. It's going to be all over, but it'll meet back together in the middle, I promise. So, first of all, what I want you guys to do is go to Google Earth and zoom in on the Rikat structure, okay? Or I think it's called the Rikat structure. It's the Eye of the Sahara, the Sahara Desert. First of all, I want you guys to look at that. If you haven't seen it before, look at it because it's really cool. And that's it. That has nothing to do with what I wanted to talk about, but it's really cool. And then I guess you could also then look at that, and then look at images of Plato's description of Atlantis, and then compare the two. All right. Now that you've done that, I can actually get back to what I was talking about, because that has nothing to do with what I wanted to talk about. In the Sahara Desert, if you were to look up like towards the Mediterranean Sea, and kind of like zoom in enough on Google Earth, these are satellite images of the location, you can follow through the desert. You can almost see major erosion marks. It looks like it would have been like a giant flow of water going completely through the Sahara Desert all the way out into the Pacific Ocean. Or no, the Atlantic Ocean, excuse me. And you can see it looks like almost like paint, like a paintbrush stroke that goes down and out. And you can like, and if you zoom in on it, it looks like, oh wait, you know what? A lot of people say, oh, it's just wind. But wind goes all over the place. It doesn't always only blow in one direction. You know, that is clearly erosion marks from like a giant flood or a giant tidal wave or whatever. It's clear as day. At least it is to me, and I'm slightly crazy, so it means it probably isn't that clear, but to me it's clear. And it's interesting because if you look back in almost every historical text, religious or just historical text, there's a lot of evidence, in written evidence, pointing towards a flood about 6,000 years ago, which is about 6,000 years ago. That's an important number, okay? Because and if you think about that, and then you look at that map, and it looks like there's those giant erosion marks, and it's kind of like, okay, here's some physical evidence that there has at least been a giant tidal wave. And you know, it could have been a giant, that would be a huge tidal wave, but it looks like water was over all of that, and then it flowed out, and those are the erosion marks of the water going away. So flood, very, very, very possible. There's a lot of text and there's a lot of physical evidence to that happening. The other thing that's really interesting that they talk about in the Tucker Carlson interview is pole shifts. These all tie together, I promise. Magnetic north and south poles shifting. And excuse me for my sniffles. That's a whole other story. Why is it, okay, this is off topic, but why is it that a couple months ago we start getting a ton of pharmaceutical advertisements about, you know, sinus infections, take this medication if you get sinus infections, and then now all of a sudden everybody's got sinus infections? The commercials for the money came out before the sickness. Anyways, that's completely different. Sorry. But there's pole shifts, magnetic north and south pole shifts. By the way, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, this is completely normal to you. You guys already know that it's impossible for me to stay on one subject throughout the whole course of this video. I'm not scripting these. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm literally just talking about it while I'm riding my motorcycle around. That's just what I do. So sorry. There is running simulations from just the data that we've collected from the Earth's magnetic poles. Oh no. Oh wait, good. I don't need this street. I thought I was stuck. No cigars for me. But you can run simulations with the data that we have, and there's a lot of evidence pointing towards the poles flipping or tilting once every about 6,000 years. That seems to be the cycle for the Earth, and 6,000 years is very, very, very crucial because like the text, all the text, you know, oh, Noah being told to build this ark and stuff like that to prepare for a flood, that was 4,000 BC. It's 2025 now, I think. That's about 6,000 years ago, and it happens to line up with like the data that we have for the poles flipping or tilting. And in the process of doing that, you know, the Earth would flip or tilt too. There's a lot of stuff. You could look at the Earth flipping information, and it wouldn't be like an instant one-day event. It would be like a you know, year. It'd be a long-term event. But it would cause, you know, like if you were to push a container with water in it slowly but consistently, the water would raise on one side, lower on the other side because of inertia, and then when you stop pushing, it would slosh back because of physics, because that's just what it does. And these tidal waves, these floods and stuff in like the Sahara, the erosion marks like perfectly line up to an event like that. And then you've got the data that points back is about like, oh yeah, every 6,000 years, and you got the stories of Noah, and like almost every religious text has a flood in it about 6,000 years ago, and it all kind of like ties together. It's really interesting. There's more to this. 1 second, I'll be right back. Alright, you guys, so I'm gonna cut out that little bit of rambling as I was leaving the parking lot because I was getting distracted by like drivers, and it's distasteful. Nobody wants to hear it. So what I was saying was there's a lot, it's just a really neat coincidence that there's a lot of ties between some of the models and stuff that we can run now with our data and our satellites and collecting data, and you know, our computing and everything like that. We can run these models that aren't telling us what happened before or what's going to happen in the future, but they can give you a pretty good estimate. Kind of like when for example, like when you see models of projections of a hurricane, like, you know, they run a bunch of models saying it's probably going to run this path, and it might deviate here and there, but it does go in that general direction, you know, unless something crazy steps in and changes it. But Anyways, so these models tie up very, very closely to some of, like, you know, old scriptures, you know, religious texts, historical texts, tablets and things like that. They all seem to kind of like they're starting to connect the dots, you know what I mean? And it's very, very cool. It's cool to see because I don't know, I know it's scary because it's like, well, if something major happens and we're wiped out, that's scary and all, but at the same time, it's like with, you know, thousands of years in between, to be the generation that might potentially be alive to see it happen, it's actually kind of lucky in a very kind of weird, twisted way. We're kind of lucky. It's cool. I think it's cool. I am not, honestly, I'm not afraid of what comes next. Even I don't know, obviously nobody knows what comes next, but I'm not afraid of it, and there's no reason to be afraid of it because it's the only guarantee in this world. But what I wanted to get at next, I'm talking about this interview with Tucker Carlson. I'm gonna go, as long as they don't change lanes, I'm good. But anyways, this interview with Tucker Carlson, they kind of hint on that. They're talking about like pole shifts and stuff like that. They're not talking hugely about that part of it. That's just my interest, and so when I watched it, that's the part that really stuck out to me. But they did talk about, you know, billions or trillions of dollars with a T, excuse me, with a T, going missing from like the budget for the United States and stuff like that. Back in like the late 1990s and early 2000s and stuff, and you know, and like projects of building bunkers, underground bunkers, bug out shelters, and like she was saying, she estimated, and it's not a real number, it's an estimation of like around the United States on land and on the coastline underwater. Roughly 170 different bug out stations, with all having like roads and stuff connecting to them underground so they can traverse from one to the other. It's a really, really interesting conversation, and I highly suggest that you guys take a look at it. I'm purposefully glancing over it because I don't want to spoil it, but I want you guys to watch it. You guys asked for something that is kind of mysterious. I'm still in fourth gear, my poor bike. That's kind of mysterious, and you know, and I'm bringing you the most mysterious because this is the stuff that's happening in the world right now. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say like, you know, oh, the earth is going to flip over in our lifetime and everything's going to be wiped out. I'm not going to say that because I don't know, and nobody knows, and anybody who says they know is a liar. But there's a lot of data and evidence and history and stuff that point towards it. And you know what? Going all the way back to like the last quote-unquote catastrophic global extinction event, I sincerely believe that humanity was more advanced than we are now. This is a belief I've had my whole life, and I'm sticking to it regardless of what you say. I don't care. I believe that we were more advanced in the past because today we have all these systems of control. Control of information, control of people, control of every single second of our lives is being watched and monitored and influenced. And especially now with the advancements of AI. Everybody is thinking AI is such a cool thing. But you know, if the forces that are already trying to control us, there's no way they're gonna leave AI alone, because AI can target every single individual, and feed you commercials and content, and like they can have reward systems and consequences and stuff like that for your actions and whatnot, all tied together to your phone and your computer and AI. It'll build a profile on every single individual person and feed that profile, and then they can, over time, turn you into whoever they want you to be, as long as your eyes are closed. So open them up. That's the wild end to my rant there. But anyways, I want you guys to check out that video. It is a fantastic interview. I'm just glancing over it on purpose, like I said, because I don't want to spoil it. Also because I don't want to accidentally misrepresent it. I found it very, very interesting, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep like at least maybe 45 minutes to an hour into it. It's a long interview, and I was watching it after work. I was already tired, so I probably fell asleep and missed some pretty cool stuff, so I'll probably go and watch it again. But anyways, that's what I got for you guys. I'm hoping that I kind of piqued your curiosity a little bit there, and for the people who were wanting to hear something that is kind of mysterious and interesting, hopefully that counts, because this is something that is not just, you know, he said, she said, here's a extremely blurry picture of Sasquatch, oh wait, it looks kind of like a bear standing up. You know, it's not like that. This is like something that's like, there's a government page, there's a team of scientists that will go up and try to triangulate the actual magnetic North Pole, and they've been doing this for like, gosh, over 100 years now or something like that. I don't know. And they will triangulate it, and they will plot it on a graph, on a map, and show where it's at, and it's been moving and it's accelerating. And if that's it's like, oh my goodness, it's actually moving, like it could be. But the other thing to that, I know I'm going to keep going for a little bit. The other thing to that is that if that is true, the sun does it all the time. First of all, the sun does it all the time. It's like 11-year cycles or 12-year cycles. Solar minimum, solar maximum is caused by the flipping of the magnetic north and south pole. Maximum comes when it's in the middle of the flip, because it's more chaotic. The magnetic field is more chaotic. Minimum comes when it's on the poles, because it's a more consistent pattern, and it doesn't create that chaos. And it's that chaos that weakens it and allows the solar flares and the photons and the plasma filament launches and stuff like that. You know, it's just through that chaos and the weakness of its magnetic field. And the same principle applies to the Earth, but the Earth cycle is supposedly around that 6,000 year mark. The thing is if ours flips, it's not necessarily the flipping that's going to harm us, it's the weakening of the field that would harm us, because then, you know, if we got hit by like an X-class flare or something like that, then you know, there's really no shield protecting us from it like there is now. That being said, also, if you haven't noticed, we've been having some pretty crazy auroras very regularly lately, which through my entire life, my 32 years on this planet, never happened before. And they're like all the time now. So yeah, that's that. If that's interesting to you, then the other thing I suggest you guys watch is Space Weather News. It's a channel, Space Weather News. I want to try to funnel you guys over there, because it's very, very, very cool. And the best thing that you can do is be prepared for things that you don't even believe is going to happen, because if it does, you're prepared. If it doesn't, you're still prepared. Who cares? Anyways, that's it. I hope you guys had a wonderful day today.